but we do have plenty of new business. Ordinance number 803, an ordinance amending the organization of Marlboro County Economic Development Board. First reading.
So this is in response to last meeting where we wanted to update and make some necessary changes to the Economic Development Board, the partnership ordinance. And as discussed before, it takes time to write it or to rewrite it and redo some of the things in it, but we wanted to go ahead and do the first reading today, but we will present that entire ordinance on the next meeting.
May I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept ordinance number 803, first reading, title only.
Second. Any discussion? Motion has been made and moved to second. All in favor, for title only? Ordinance number 842. An ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of tax agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and the company known to the county as Project Crystal Eagle, acting for itself, one or more affiliates, and or other project sponsors, to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax incentive and certain infrastructure credits, to expand the boundaries of a multi-county park to include the project and other matters related thereto. Second reading.
This again is just one of the projects we talked about, the solar projects we talked about earlier, and this is just a second reading. We'd agreed on fee in lieu, just wanted to move that forward.
Okay. We talked about this at the last meeting. Is there any discussion? If not, may I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion has been made and second. No discussion. All in favor? Unanimous. Ordinance number 843, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of tax agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and the company known as the county project at Pineapple Palace, acting for itself, one or more affiliates, and or other project sponsor, to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes incentive and certain infrastructure credits, to expand the boundaries of a multi-county park to include the project and other matters related thereto. This is also a second reading.
Same project, same type of project, different location, and it's the same, it's the exact same as the one before that.
Okay. May I have a motion?
I move that we accept ordinance 843.
Second.
Motion has been made and moved to second. All in favor? Passed unanimous. Ordinance number 844, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of tax agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and the company known to the county as Project Dancing Diamond, acting for itself, one or more affiliates, and other project sponsors, to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes incentive and certain infrastructure credit, to expand the boundaries of a Marlboro County park to include the project and other matters related thereto. Also the second reading.
Again, this is the third of three projects from the same company, different location, and it's the second reading. Just want to advance it as well.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion been made and moved to second. All in favor? Okay. Ordinance number 845, an ordinance to amend an agreement for the development of a joint county industrial and business park, 2016 Park of Dillon and Marlboro counties, so to enlarge the park. This is the first reading.
Again, this is the county, this is the multi-county industrial park where, as everyone knows, Harbor Freight and those other companies located, and we do get a hefty percentage of that. And so we want to advance the park, make sure the park is a little bit enlarged, so that other companies that want to go in there, that they've recruited over there, that we'll get credit for that too as well.
Any discussion? Okay, may I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor? Okay. Resolution 02-2401, a resolution of Marlboro County Council supporting the South Carolina American Revolution Centennial Commission and recognizing and approving of the Marlboro County 250 Committee.
At this time, Mr. Chairman, I would ask that I defer to Lynn. She's. You wanna-
This is something that comes to us from the state. It's
Well,
the,
you should up there.
I'm the museum director. I used to sit right over there.
Lynn, go to the
Cut this
mic.
microphone.
Take a podium.
All right. So this is something that the General Assembly created very long. It's the South Carolina American Revolution Centennial Commission, and nobody wants to say that, so they call it
250.
250. And it is kind of to oversee or promote activities related to commemorating the American Revolution anniversary, which, you know, we look at July 4th, 1776, so we're kind of moving in that direction now. So they have they want all these activities to come from the local level, and they have a lot of resources that are available to us. They have speakers bureaus, research, and not the least of which is they have a lot of grant money that's going to be available to us. I think they gave away $1.2 million in grants last year, and, you know, there's a lot more coming up. There are 9 categories of grants. 6 of those have no local matches, so it's literally free money for us. And in order for us to get that money, we need for y'all to do this resolution.
Well, you know, we always like free.
It's free money.
We always like free. You can't beat free.
I have a discussion question.
Go ahead.
Ms. McQueen, could you sort of tell me what are the things that this grant would do for Marlboro County?
Well, there's 9 different categories of grants that are all related to the activities that we might pursue as we commemorate the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. I wish there were shorter ways to say that, but there's not. The first one that, if y'all do this resolution, we will immediately be eligible for a $3,000 planning grant. So we would be able to bring somebody in to help us figure out, hey, what do we want to do over the next couple of years to, you know, to commemorate this anniversary. But then there are grants for things like museum panels, publications. I can send you the list, but there are different categories of grants. I think that if we were to pursue every grant that is available, it would be over $100,000. And it would just be for, you know, activities like, just for example, we have a marker over the museum grounds for a Revolutionary War colonel, and it's in really bad shape. It needs to be cleaned. So, hey, you know, we don't have any money to clean it, but we can get a grant to clean it. That kind of thing.
And if we do, if you are awarded, the county award this money, you come back and let us know how much you got and your plans?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think y'all would approve any, you know, grant that we would apply for.
Good. Anybody got any more questions? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and been made second, we had discussion, all in favor, show of hands.
I'm abstaining at this time.
Okay, you got that, Susan? Okay. All right. Resolution 2402, a resolution authorizing the lease of Hangar B at the Marlboro County Jet Port.
So, I do actually have that in your packet. That
Okay.
lease agreement. That lease agreement comes from a company that wants to lease that hangar and do helicopter and repairs. And the airport has asked that they're allowed to lease that property.
Okay.
Again, that's in your packet. And with that, please see within that, there's an ask for some adjustments to the rent based on them making repairs. They ask that be included with it as well. You can see that on the next page.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure they make the repairs, we should compensate them some kind of way. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Clyburn?
Mr. Clyburn, you say the board has approved this, or?
Yes, and they asked that the council, of course, they have to get council permission, so they asked that the council approve that, please. They're ready to move forward.
Okay.
So, Mr. Clyburn, you said the board approved that? do they have a meeting, do they have regular meetings and things? Is the board active? That's all I need to
The
know.
board is active. I mean, they do meet. Now, that's one of the boards that, I'm looking at all the boards and commissions. That's one of the ones I don't have, I haven't been to one of their meetings. And I don't have real communication with them. I do talk with Mr. Avant, and he's the one that kind of gives me an update on things at the board. And I talked to also Mr. Midgley Senior. I talked to him on occasion about things that happen at the board. So I do get some communication from them, as opposed to some of the other boards. I do get communication from them.
Let me ask you, did we get the 3 leases? We have one with Berry running the airport. I know there was one contract with that, and there was one on one certain hangar, and then I guess this is the second.
Right, and so we do have, and there's another one coming up soon that we're gonna have to consider as well, with Northeastern Tech, because they're trying to do something with aviation mechanics over there. So, but to answer your question, I don't have with me now that lease, but I do have copies of it.
Oh, we got them all.
Right, because Mr. Miller, he
Right.
copies of those.
Okay.
Now, is it on this lease, is this being leased out currently now?
No, that's what they're looking to get done.
Okay, and is this the helicopter thing?
Right, the one, if you go inside the terminal part,
Right.
and you make a left outside the terminal, outside the runway, and you look to the left, it's that first one over there. The 2 bigger ones are the ones that Northeastern Tech are looking at on the right side when you pull into the airport.
Okay, I move we finish the questions, Chairman?
Anybody got any more comments or questions?
Yeah, well, how long is that? Did it, was there a term in there, or just 1 year commits, and that's why I read it. I mean, I didn't know if there was a
End date?
end date. I mean, I think it's just a 1 year, period of 1 year commits and date. I just didn't know if I missed something. I mean, it'd have to be for a couple of years to get to the repair amount, so,
Because
okay.
with the repair thing, it's gonna take.
At least to that amount.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
So it'll be.
At least to that amount, all right.
Right.
There's a motion on the table.
Second.
Motion been second. All in favor?
I'm abstaining.
One abstain? Okay. Resolution 02-2403, a inducement relative to Marlboro County and Project Purity.
If we're gonna lease that property, again, we have to have a resolution. We don't have to go through the 3 readings for an ordinance, but that's to lease the property for Project Purity.
Okay, yeah, we discussed that last meeting also. May I get a motion on this?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. We got any appointment to boards and commission, library board? They have one person that they want to add to their board committee.
Yes, sir. It's Fran Lewis. She'll be replacing Miss Ellery Henson as an at-large.
Okay. Okay. Anybody got any comments or questions about Ms. Fan Lewis?
And that'd be a great choice.
Very good choice. Very good lady. May I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Make sure we contact Ms. Fran Lewis. Okay, we got no acceptance of bids. Reports. Before we get to the reports, asking all council members, for Mr. Park and Mr. Clyburn, before we make any comment, make sure they get through their report, because they could have something that they gonna cover anyway before we ask the question. So, Mr. Parks, you up.
Mr. Chairman, council members, Mr. Clyburn, I have before you report general fund revenues for the 7 months ending January 31, 2024. The total $5,963,710 in comparison to $6,482,394 for the same 7 months ended January 31, 2023. General fund expenditures through January 31, 24 totaled $8,376,998 of a $14,233,618 budget, or 58.9% of budget year to date. General fund expenditures totaled $7,953,527 for the same 7-month period ending January 31, 2023. In conclusion, revenues posted are lower in comparison with last year because of the delay in collection of the fee and lieu income. Expenditures in comparison to prior years are up, but however, the year-to-date expenditures consistent with budget on a year-to-date basis. So, I don't know, if any questions about the financial report?
The revenue that you mentioned, I just wanted the indication of how much of that fund balance are we using to the current.
Well, at this point in time, of course, we went through that presentation of the last meeting, and there's no anticipation that we'd actually use any fund balance in this current fiscal year. So I think we're gonna end up in a good position.
Anybody got any more questions?
I do. Thank you. Mr. Park, just kind of look at the booklet that y'all prepared so well. On page 74,
Okay? And that has to do with the project.
yes, sir. Can you tell me where we are with the Lake Paul Wallace project?
Lake Paul Wallace project, at this point in time, the Lake Paul Wallace Authority is working with the engineering firm, and they're designing, the drawings and all. They're preparing it for bid, hopefully within the next month or so. It'll be out for bid. So at that point in time, certainly we'll know what the anticipated cost is going to be involved. And I believe that the chairman of the Lake Paul Wallace Authority is expecting to appear at the March meeting to give the council an update at that time.
Okay.
Mr. Sully Blair.
Page 76, the Broad Street project.
Okay. Yeah.
Item number 3, bullet 3.
Okay.
Okay.
And when you look at the project cost, of course, that was when it was initially considered. That was what the expectation was.
That's not the question I have, though. The question I have is for the demolition and construction is still on hold. My question is, what steps have we done between you and Mr. Clyburn and any other?
I can answer that question.
Okay.
We've sent out a budget request to the state
Okay.
to help us with anything that we want to do as far as renovations. And one thing I was going to report on my report, I just left the USDA today, and they have funding available for any type of renovations that would help us at least occupy the building, because we did have 2 uses for that. We did want to have our Parks and Recreation in that building, and then an amusement facility on the left side of it. And so I just left the meeting there, and you know, these things take a little time as far as the funding is concerned, but we are looking at the state. We've sent in a budget request for that, and again, USDA. And if I can get those in, I just found out today, but if I can get some things in by March, they may be able to fund some of that in September. So,
My question for all of this is that we know that this is 2024,
yes.
and in 2025, you have to make a decision on how you were going to use these allocated APR funds, and we have not made a decision on that yet. And I just don't want us to slip through the cracks
Right.
that is going to be a project, because if we don't make a decision on it this year, next year you have no other choice.
Right, and that's going to be addressed in this budget
Okay.
coming up. That will be addressed in full.
Okay, last question. December, you gave us a breakdown of all the bank accounts, and we learned that we have a pretty big number through FOIA. I just want to ask, where are we with requesting those accounts? Did y'all do a FOIA request yet?
In terms of requesting,
As far as having access or seeing, because what we get in this book is our general funds. We don't get anything else about any other account. And that was my main question. I would like to know what else kind of funds that we have in Marlboro County. And I know through FOIA we can ask for that.
I'm not aware of the actual FOIA request that has been submitted, so, and of course, that would be submitted to the treasurer.
Okay.
She does have access and authority to all of those accounts, so I think that would be the appropriate.
So my question then is, for both of you, will a request be made, or are you sitting
Yeah,
on
sure,
it?
there's no problem making a FOIA request
Okay.
to the treasurer. I would just ask that, if we're gonna make a FOIA request, and if there's something in particular accounts you wanna see, be specific. Now, if you just wanna see all the accounts and all the different things, I mean, that's just something you need to let me know exactly
Okay.
what you wanna get from the treasurer, and I have no problem,
Okay.
putting together that FOIA request.
Alrighty. And I think I have finished that for this point.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Mr. West. Mr. Clyburn.
All right, so I do have a few things I want to mention to the council and to the citizens. First of all, good evening, and it's good to see a lot of people here today. I want to talk about the banquet hall. We do have the renovations almost complete. It's on schedule, it's within budget, and we're actually going to get that done hopefully in about 2 more weeks now. We'll get that done. He does have some events scheduled, so we don't need any more delays. We did have a little delay before with the HVAC system. But it's good to get some of the things in that needed to do to get that done. We do have alcohol liability insurance that we've applied to 12 different companies, and we've been told the same thing, is that a lot of companies in the state, well, there are no insurance companies in the state now that are insuring alcohol only, which means we're going to have to get some sort of food in there, and that's something we're working on right now. And that food is actually going to stay in budget with everything else we've been doing, because we've saved some money along the way with the renovation. So with that food, we'll be able to get, once we get the DHEC license, we just let the state know that we have it, and then we let the insurance companies know we have it, and then we'll be able to get liability insurance for that. So that's going to be, and that was just a difficulty that we didn't foresee that we would have. The next thing, inmate assistance. We're actually waiting on the judge to do some sentencing. We have to have proper sentencing, and we're waiting on some of the wardens to identify some different people who they trust in that, because it's a process. We don't want to just put anybody out there in the public. We have to identify risk and identify liabilities, and once that's done, we're going to have people out there immediately. I do want to mention, we had a collaborative meeting just last night with the school district and city councils and city governments, and it was a very productive meeting as far as just everyone getting to know the thoughts and projects of those different entities that we will have to work with at some point. If we're going to move forward, we're going to work with these different entities. And we did meet this morning. I wasn't actually there, but since someone there, we met, and they talked about the things that we talked about in that meeting last night. One being housing, and the other being workforce development. So we did have a discussion with them this morning, and not just to talk to be talking, but there's some ideas that were put on the table that we can move forward with, as they get some of their things put in place to bring to us. So, and I think they're going to make some of the first moves to come to us with some ideas, and so we look forward to that. As I mentioned a little earlier, I met with USDA this morning in Florence, and there are several, not loans, but grants that we'll be eligible for. Some are matching, some are non-matching. But there's some grants that we're going to be able to use. We do have some funds available for some purchases, but if we can get grants to match that, then of course our money goes a lot further. So that's one of the things I need to really get to work on in the next couple of weeks, because middle of March is not necessarily a deadline, but that's kind of when they start a process for this season. And that will allow us to get some of these grants, at least get them approved, and to get them further along by the time our budget year comes up, we'll know where we stand with some of the money that we may get from USDA. And it's a substantial amount, they've told me, so I'll know more about that as I meet more with them. Aquatic Center. We are supposed to have a groundbreaking, but we were waiting on the city planning and zoning for setbacks and sidewalk widths and that kind of thing. We just got that information yesterday and today from the city. And so we will be able to schedule something as early as late this month, very late February or early March for official groundbreaking and to go ahead and get everything started, because as everyone unanimously said, we need to have that done by next year, next Memorial Day. And so to keep that schedule, we're going to have to go ahead and get the groundbreaking. So we're going to get that done. I also want to announce that we are going to have our first annual county rodeo, and we are going to do it between the high school football field and Pop's Popcorn. They were able to work with us, and that's it's big enough. It fits what we need. We had another agreement in place, but we that kind of fell through, for good reason. So, but we have this location, and we're going to do that April 12th and April 13th. Those evenings. That's a Friday and Saturday. So that's something that we want to just do for the citizens. The last thing I want to talk about is something that I've spoken to you, Mr. Chairman, about, and that's issues that we've had with animal control. We've had some issues with, first of all, the animal shelter. It's pretty full, so we can't really get anything else in there, and it's very difficult for us to send officers to pick up animals without, and then we don't know if they're closed or not. So now we just have them. So what do we do with them? We can't just let them out back out in the street, and we just hold them for a little while until we get some space. But that's been an issue that we're going to have to address in this next year's budget, possibly. And part of what we talk about in executive session has to do with some things that, contractual things we need to talk about. The other issue that has come across my desk weeks ago is about animal nuisance. And the council is going to have to consider some action, possibly, when it comes to nuisance animals. Now, there is a clause in our animal control ordinance that makes for animal nuisance and accounts for that. We have to determine, is there a decibel level? Would we consider reasonable? Because I can tell you that there are some citizens who are tired of the nuisance animals, and we do want to do something about that at some point, whatever we can do legally. Now, we do have, owners have rights too. Owners of property and owners of animals have rights that we have to legally respect, but there are some nuisance laws that we have to actually enforce, and I just want to make sure that the council is aware of those things. Are there any questions about anything I've spoken about?
Mr. Clymer,
Yes, sir.
regarding the animal situations and stuff, in 2018 we turned the program over to Marlboro County Humane Society,
Yes.
and our officers worked with them, and this worked pretty good for about 6 years. Right now at this time, Marlboro County, you're right, they are full, but every animal shelter in the PD and across this whole state is full.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing from a lot of the people, they said that because of the economy, the way it is, people are more easily giving up dogs because they're trying to feed their families and stuff. So there is just a tremendous influx of people that are abandoning dogs and stuff. But you're right, that there is going to have to be some discussion regarding the Marlboro County Humane Society, their budget. They have not asked for one dime in the 6 years that they've been there, and they have just, working with our officers and stuff, they have just ran an immaculate program as far as taking care of people's needs and stuff. But like I said, you said we'll talk about it in executive session, but I just want to make everybody aware, in the 6 years that a lot of those volunteers are in it. They volunteer thousands and thousands of free hours, cleaning those pens and everything.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and we understand that. And so, again,
It's
now-
going to take it's going to be an at-length discussion.
And we were looking at one point, we discussed about possibly expanding over there. There's a lot of different solutions that we need to look at, and we don't need to waste a lot of time looking at those things. Because again, you have volunteers, you have, some paid people, of course, but we do need to look at, addressing that issue because we talk about the health of our county. We usually talk about things, our roadways, our buildings, health of people, but we rarely consider the health of our animal situation. And we need to consider that because if we let it go out of control, you're going to have not only some really hard feelings because some animals out there, and some of them are dangerous, some of them are nuisances, but we're also going to have some animals that are that fall victim to a lot of circumstances. So
Yeah.
we do want to address that.
And again, regarding the building, a year ago, I did a walk through the whole building and did a punch list with Ms. Tatum. She's here tonight. And, we had some great things that the county started working on, but I think we only worked on several of the issues, and they still, so you can imagine a year that back down the roads, these issues are still there. And we need to pick that punch list back up and at least take care of some things that we agreed to take care of.
I do want to say, and I get this a lot from a lot of different departments. We've had things that we needed to do for quite some time, and it just seems like they're all coming now. There are a lot of things that we have to do, but the animal shelter, I'm more than willing to sit down with someone or actually go over and tour it myself. I can go with you to tour it, and we can look at it and put together that list again, and we bring it to a committee and talk about it, and let's get some things done. So I'm fine with that.
Well, we have Ms. Jennifer Hyduke here tonight, and all these people are people that support her.
Okay.
She's the president of the Marlboro County Humane Society.
Okay.
She,
Good.
The nuisance, are you talking about the noise level as far as the dog barking and
Yes, I'll pull out the ordinance here, and I was gonna give everyone a copy, but, it does say in here that it shall be unlawful for any person to own, keep, possess, maintain an animal in such a manner as to constitute a public nuisance or a nuisance to neighbors, by way of example and not limitation following acts or actions. And one of those listed is allowing or permitting an animal to bark, whine, howl, crow, cackle, or cause noise in excessive, continuous, or untimely fashion so as to interfere with the reasonable use and enjoyment of neighboring premises. So, I'll be honest with you. When we talked about this before, we said, you can't stop dogs from barking. And I don't know if we're going to actually put a nuisance in there, an ordinance in there saying you got to stop your dogs, but it actually is an ordinance right here, and we do need to address it in some form or fashion. It's there.
I think that's the fine line that would, the animal control officer got to determine, because it's pretty much like a judgment call. We have an ordinance in place, and like I said, what you just read about the barking, the crowing, and the crackling. And unfortunately, when dogs do that, it be the wee hours of the morning. And our officers are not working, and so, the citizen they know the noise, they hear the noise. But, you'll get an officer out of bed, 3 in the morning, say, come and hit the dog bark. When you get there, then the dog ain't barking no more, then he upset. So, but anyway, it's just a fine line. It's something that we will have to address. And that way I called the attorney, asked him to look into it.
Right, he's looking into
And I know Mr. Campbell been looking into it. So now we just got to find some kind of, I don't know what solution's gonna be, we can't go, and just tell the man he got to move his dog,
Well, I'll tell you this, we do have this ordinance.
in place,
We
yeah.
have the ordinance in place, and our animal control officer does have some powers, but we can't overstep state law as well. And property laws that deal with the state, so that's why our attorney is looking at it. So because we have to see whether our ordinance and what our ordinance has that may overstep state bounds.
My question would be, how do you get a dog to stop barking if you got him food and water, and they got him in a pen with I mean, taking as good a care of him as anybody, and he's barking. How do you make a dog not bark? I mean, the good Lord allowed him to bark, so how do you stop him? I mean, that'd be a ordinance that I would, then you'd have him against you for cruelty, so, yeah, I think we need to check on those, I think you need to check on we need to look at our ordinance and see, I understand, there's kennels across my house, and believe you me, those dogs barking. It is annoying, but I mean, that's just part of.
I've been in the same situation myself, not here, but I've been in the same situation where we had dogs barking all times of the night. And I understand that it is, I mean, you can't enjoy your own property. You cannot sleep at night when they're barking that loud. And that's something that I want to make sure that we at least address in some sort of way to get people to get into some kind of relief from that. In some sort of way, again, we can only do as much as we can do legally.
Correct.
Okay, and I will take responsibility for my officer not having removed anything presently, because as I told him, we can't overstep state laws. Let's get it to the attorney first, but let's go check on the situation. Well, when we go check on the situation, it's during the daytime. We haven't heard it, and it's just something that we have to. I'm gonna have to give him some hours, let him go out there at night and check it out in the evening. I mean, I'm telling you now, don't give me a budget time now, but I'm gonna have to give him a few hours to go out there and check it out and see what do we have. Because again, we do need to make sure that we're at least.
Yeah, there could be something that provoking him to bark at a certain time. Yeah, so it may have to some investigation on some instances.
And also maintaining animals that habitually repeatedly chase, snaps at, those things, and also. I know that, I mean, we all know there's a particular case that we're talking about, and they actually have a neighborhood ordinance that prohibits people from having any type of animal sale on the property. So we don't know if that's going on or not either. And if it is, that's another avenue that we have to look at. So, but again, I just wanted to make sure the council know that we, as we talked before, we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, that we are trying to do something about the situation.
But in a situation where that no one claims the dog, I think that we ought to be able to do something. Like I got people that say, "Ain't my dog." They 5 dogs in the yard, but they ain't my dog, and they running everywhere. They ain't feeding them. They pull, and, one thing to another. In a situation like that, I think we need to try to do something where we can address that first, because there's no one owns the dog. You see what I'm saying?
Right, that's an animal shelter situation there. And like I said, my officers, when they go out, we do need to know, we need to have some communication with the animal shelter a little bit more about when they're closing. Because what happens is, if we don't know that they're closed, we go pick up a dog, now we have it. What do you do with it at that point? We're kind of stuck sometimes. And so, if we have room in the animal shelter, trust me, we're going to get what we can get. But the problem again is the room that we have there. And there's some things we have to really work with the Humane Society on how we're going to alleviate that problem with the room in the shelter.
One other thing above all else we need to remember too, most people view these dogs as they're not pets. They're members of the family, and believe me, we certainly don't want to get in a situation like that. So it's like Jason said. We got to look at the ordinance and everything. Look at the state ordinance and just take our time and just research everything and just see what we can and can't do.
Also, most people move to the country so they can have freedom to do whatever they need to do or whatever they want to do on their property. So, for us as a body, even with the ordinance in place, trying to enforce an ordinance on people that have moved in the country to have that freedom, now we're going to tell them, I can see a cluster. I can see a cluster rule say, 20 dogs or 40 dogs or whatever the cluster amount would be, but it would be approaching upon excessive. But I would hesitate, to try to enforce anything out in the country, you know, on any type of noise or anything. I think we've got explosive ordinance, something like that.
Now, we had a noise ordinance that was passed in 1980,
Right.
but was never executed.
Right.
So,
Right.
right now, we're kind of,
I guarantee you that there's no dog that's gonna rise to that decimal level that we're saying is unacceptable. So, you know, I just think we're probably fighting, you know, a dead horse, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna impose any kind of will on people that moved in to the country. And they can have chickens, they can have hogs, they can have whatever they wanna have. And I'm not gonna interfere with that. I would be
Mr.
no
Clyburn, and I don't know, I'm asking this off the top of my head. With a community ordinance and a county ordinance, we got no, those are two different ordinances, correct?
so, right. and
You said they got an ordinance in their own
the community ordinance, we
area.
don't enforce that.
Right.
We're not allowed to enforce that.
The community
That's between
ordinance do
them
that.
and the magistrate and the sheriff. You know, or the magistrate first to enforce that, and then it goes from there. And as you all know, once something hits the judge, hits a lawsuit or anything, I don't touch it. You know, I let the judge do their job. And so, you know, I've had some instances where people have asked me to, you know, kind of, I don't do that. And so with these community ordinances, they have to go to the magistrate for those. We cannot legally enforce that.
Good, okay. Wanna know.
Mr. Chair, I just want to make a point too that you say about county. Already have some complaints from people in the county, and it's not just dogs. They have a special person who she's up in her 60s, disabled. The chickens are running all over her yard, and she says they're just cats and stuff on her cars. So that's not just the dogs. There's other animals too that people are complaining about. People not fencing in their chickens walking around all in their property. They don't like that.
Now, with that instance, and there's clear ordinances as far as that's concerned. That's something clear. Now we can't stop the chickens from whatever noise they make.
But you can stop them from walking on my property.
Going on someone else's property, that's an infraction, I'm sure. I haven't seen that exactly, but I know that's an infraction. And that's something we can impose them to do the fencing or whatever. And when you're talking about animals, we've had some complaints about goats, everything.
Yeah.
Goats. And so, again, if your animal is supposed to be in your yard, then yes, we can make sure, we can enforce them to stay in your yard. But as far as the noise they're making, that's something that we're again, we have to do some research about that, because as much as people have the right to enjoy their property, that goes both ways to the person who owns the animals as well. We have to respect both of those sets of rights. And I think if you poll council and everyone else, you're going to get people on both sides of that issue. So we have to actually come to some kind of agreement. I don't have a vote, but that's, you know, up to council to really come up with some kind of agreement how we're going to handle that.
Thank you, sir.
I have one question that don't have animal control. I want to get back to the inmate assistance. Are you talking about that for the litter control? Is that what we're using that for?
Yes.
So with that being said, may I ask a question of your public works director, please?
Yes. Sure.
Mr. Campbell, hi. Could you give me an idea as far as, have you gotten anything from Palmetto Pride about litter or signs or anything like that?
We had a meeting with Palmetto Pride. We did apply for the grant. Typically the way that works is if you haven't gotten a grant in a while, they don't award you a grant until they actually come down and have a conversation. I met with the executive team on last week from Palmetto Pride, and we have everything in the works for next year's grants and to become a part of the association.
And the question I have then, sir, is with that being said, because I got some information that came to me today about Palmetto Pride, the question I have is, do the county plan to have any type of cleanup activities for between now and the spring or anything?
Does the county plan to have any cleanups? We have been in conversation with the city about doing a comprehensive cleanup across Marlboro County, allowing the city to cross lines and us to cross lines, but we have not solidified that yet.
Just speaking to one of their elected officials, they're talking about something in mid-March, but Marlboro County, does better with our full week, because that one-day activity sometimes does not do enough to pick up litter. There is litter all over this county in the spring break. Not that it's anybody's one person's fault, but it is, I think it would be to our benefit to try to have some type big countywide litter cleanup.
Sure, we definitely don't have a problem with that. Right now, as you know, we had a lot of open vacant positions, and that has been kind of at the forefront of our minds, just trying to make sure that we get people in place to properly execute and facilitate day-to-day operations. But we will adhere to that as soon as things are rectified.
Okay, and then the other thing is, I know that we have some equipment, and I know that some of this is going to involve the state, SCDOT. The rain has really, in my area too, South Bennettsville and West Bennettsville, we are having overflow ditches in our community. There's a debris.
Let me speak to that.
I'm going to address that in executive session with,
Okay,
I'm going to, because there's something contractual that
okay,
will take care of that.
all right.
I will address that in
Thank you,
executive
because
session.
it's been a hot issue.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
And that's
you.
something we've been working on
Okay,
extensively. I'll address that.
thank you.
Anybody got anything else for Mr. Clapper? Okay. Moving, you through, Mr. Clapper? You
I'm
got
through.
something?
That's it.
Okay. Moving on to recognition of citizens request from council. We have one lady to sign up, Miss Mary Adams. Will you come forward, please? Ms. Adams, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Mary Adams. I'm a resident of Subgrade Road, and we are here from the Subgrade area because we have a nuisance problem. And we've been complaining about this problem since October, and no one is doing anything to help us with the problem. We sent our neighbor a letter. He has 9 dogs or more. They bark, they howl all night long, and I have evidence. They bark during the day, they bark at night, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Me and Miss Young, we stay close to the neighbor. We can't get no sleep. And it's in writing, in the ordinance 672 by Ordinance Patrol. I'm glad to hear you brought the subject up tonight because I reached out to the county administrator. I got it right here, sir. I don't need your copy, thank you. A lion or permitting the animal to bark, whine, howl, crow, crackle, or cause noise to excessive, continuous, untimely fashion is interfere with our reasonable use and enjoyment of neighbor premises. It's in writing. No one doing anything about it. I talked to the animal control supervisor. We called the animal control officer several times so he could come out and see and hear what we're dealing with. I'm home during the day. I call him. Come out so you can hear the dogs barking all day long, all night long. We can't get no sleep at night. If you're dealing with it yourself, you'll do something about it. But since you're not dealing with it, so I guess you ain't trying to do nothing about it. I've been complaining since October. I reached out to people in November. My first reach out, I went to the courthouse, talked to the supervisor there. He said, okay, I had an animal control officer call you. Did he call? No. Have they done anything about it? No. I talked to the county administrator January the 8th. Yes, I did. Did you do anything to enforce this kind of ordinance to help us solve this problem? No. I talked to the director of operations several times. My first conversation with him was in January. Have he did anything to make his people enforce this ordinance to help us get some sleep at night and get some peace in our neighborhood? No, he did nothing. He gonna tell me that dogs barking is not a nuisance. You read it tonight, Code 672, Section 12, number 5. It tells you in writing, so I wanna know why can't nothing be done about it. And then I asked him, February the 5th, I talked to him. I called the see could I get or meet with him. He told me no, I could not meet with him. He had a meeting at 10 o'clock and he had to go. He hung his phone up. And have I heard from him since? No, I have not. And it's in writing, so I want to know why nothing can be done about it. We can't get no sleep at night. We need some peace in our neighborhood. So that's why we are here tonight, me and the community from Subgrade, because we need somebody to enforce this ordinance. it's in writing, so something needs to be done about it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Adams. Okay, next, before we go to executive session, we have, a couple of guests that, we would like to, they'll address the council. Mr. Strickler. Mr. Strickler with, PDRTA.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll be quick. Thank you, Mr. Chair, council, and citizens, staff, everyone else involved. Just wanted to share a few things as far as public transit in Marlboro County. This is PDRTA's 50th year. So 1974 we were founded. So we're going to celebrate that this year. So that's going to be a good year. Marlboro County services are doing extremely well. As far as fixed routes in any city, the Bennettsville Express that runs right around Bennettsville is actually exceeding all other cities that we have except for the urbanized area of Florence. So the services are doing extremely well. Currently have a 22 passenger bus on that route, and there's times where we have standing room only. And the numbers are just continuing to increase. We've seen 12 to 15% growth really month over month for the last 6 months. And this past month, just in Bennettsville alone, not any other things in the county, we had 1,900 trips just on that little express route. So service is going well. Doing the Colorado, Bennettsville routes doing very well. We're keeping Carly Seeds busy with those people transferring from one place to another. Our services from Bennettsville to Sherrall, the Connect bus is actually doing extremely well too. Those numbers, they weren't great for that first year or two. You know, we started the service in 2019, and it's just continued to do very well. And it's just a testament that, you know, folks truly need it. We do have some choice riders that are using it because it's for just convenience, and it's a lot cheaper than having a used car or a new car now in today's economy. But demand response, we're doing a lot for senior citizens in Marlboro County. Those numbers, we're working with Vantage Point through Care South, and that's we get some help with them with funding going back and forth. So a lot of seniors are using the services. Have a lot of dialysis clients, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, going and get dialysis treatments, and we're happy to be able to provide those services because some of them, if they had to require, you know, rely on other folks, the services wouldn't be nearly as efficient because we're going, picking them up from their home, taking them to those sites where they get treatment. And that's the same for seniors and folks going to the grocery store, you know, pharmacy visits and whatnot. A few things, you know, we want to work toward more workforce connections. That's a big thing. That's one way we'll be able to keep folks in Marlboro County is having more workforce commuter routes. I mentioned van pool programs before, and that's something we definitely want to focus on as well, just to give options because any money they can save getting to and from work, they're going to come back and spend that locally within the local economy. Care South in 2019, before we started these services, their no-show rate was between 32 and 35% in Marlboro County. And the last report I got, their no-show rate was 17%. So they've drastically improved the folks that could not get to an appointment because now they have access to reliable public transportation. One thing that I met with a few folks this past Friday, another thing we'd like to try to do is more internship programs. So working with our high school juniors and seniors and get them to jobs because the program we have right now in Darlington County is a 65% success rate. Those internship programs, when we pick those kids up from school, take them to these jobs, and they actually go work 4 or 5 hours there, 65% of those kids are staying on after graduation with their employers. And so I think that's something that we'll be able to, you know, continue kind of moving this needle into the right direction. We do have a lot of needs. We do surveys a lot. Folks are asking for extended services right now. We're ending, you know, before 6 o'clock. Somebody working a second shift job, that's not doing them any good. They get off at 8 or 9, we may get them to work, they can't get home. Some of them are the ones you see walking on the sidewalks after dark or riding a bike. So increased service, increased headways. We don't operate anything on the weekends now. Since Mohawk closed, we're not running Saturdays and Sundays. That's another piece that everyone's really asking for. Not just Saturday service to go to grocery stores and do, you know, things like that, but you know, we as a public transit provider, if we ran Sunday service, there's nothing that keeps us from providing front door service to a church or churches throughout a fixed route that we can build as long as it's open to the general public. So that's something, you know, in the future we'll be able to look at to be able to provide access for, you know, multiple needs. It's open to anyone that wants to use it. So that's, you know, one thing to consider. But just in this community alone, we're about 4,000 trips a month. So you're right at 50,000 trips a year. And honestly, that number is going to continue to increase, and it's stacking up better than, like I said, if I take out Florence County, this is the poster child for how it should be done. Have a lot of growth to look forward to, but I really appreciate it. We're looking at veteran access to appointments, whether that's connections to Columbia, North Carolina, or to the new hospital in Florence. That's a big focus. We want to try to make sure we have those connections as we move forward. That's really all I have, and I know I don't have time for questions. So I appreciate it, and I'd love to come back and give a more comprehensive overview of kind of that service level.
Can you point out that the service is free? I heard you give this presentation in Florence.
Yes.
So would you please point that out as far as the charges?
That's a great point. So the services in Florence are not fare free, but
in
because of
Marlboro
the
County.
partnerships we have in Marlboro County, they are fare free. One thing we noticed, and that's a testament to some of this ridership growth too, when the services are fare free, we've seen about a 20% increase in ridership. So whether it's a lot of folks look at $1, $2, not a lot of money, but for a lot of folks, that's the difference in what they can get at the grocery store or buying a prescription to help them get through the day. So,
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland, appreciate it. Anybody got anything they want to mention? Also, we have in our present is director of the PD car. Hey, please come up and say something. Put you up on the gun, didn't I?
I am Joette Dukes, and I am the newly appointed Executive Director for PD Regional Council of Governments. And of course, the PD COG serves a 6-county area, which includes Marlboro County. And a part of my commitment to all of our counties and municipalities, and we have 39 total, is that we will be present. And so that's why I'm here, to show my presence and my support, and to let you know that if there is something that we can do for Marlboro County, we are available to do that, as well as serve all of our communities in the region. So we're just here to, as a show of support. Didn't really come prepared to say anything, but I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. Glad to have you. Okay. Do we need to go in executive session, correct?
Yes, we do.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay. Motion been made and second to go in executive session to conduct contractual matters.
the DHEC engineers are just basically backing up what DHEC has to approve on that Academy Road. So it's been long overdue, and we're not going to get into all the reasons why it's taken so long. But anyway, I know everybody out there will be glad to see the road get open back up. That's all I got.
I don't have anything.
Just want to thank everyone for coming out this evening, with the hopes of continuing to make Marlboro County a great place to work, to live, and to play. I think we're serious about moving our county forward. We know that we have a long road ahead of us, but I think the 8 members around this council, and along with the county leadership, is committed, to making Marlboro County a better place than it has been in the past. One thing that concerns me is the dangerous roads that we have here in Marlboro County. And we've addressed those concerns on multiple occasions. We're hoping that if we continue to call upon our leadership, along with SCDOT, we can get some of our roadways a little bit more safer. We've had too many accidents on our roadways that claim the lives of a lot of young citizens, and we need to take those things seriously. For those who have to travel some roadways every single day, you can see the seriousness of some of our intersections. And so we're hoping that we're praying that SODOT will hear our pleas and help us create safer roads for our citizens in Marlboro County.
Just agree with Dr. Johnson. 38 North is a very dangerous road. Usually have a couple fatalities a year. Both of us, we joined and serve that, so hopefully they will take heed and hear back from all that. OI Road, I know they had a construction meeting last week, and the contractor's supposed to start on it the 1st of March, should start moving equipment in to start the repairs on OI Road. It still take about 10 to 12 months, but long awaited, and be glad to see it happen.
I'd like to thank all the citizens for coming out and voicing your opinion on things, and I want you to know that it is not going to fall on deaf ears, even though you have an opinion, and I have an opinion of the issue that you brought forth. That doesn't mean that I'm set in stone. I can take another look, we can take another look, and we can try to help that situation out. Also, I want everybody to, I'm hoping that you had a good African American month, American History Month. And as I thought about our 1 month a year that we get, I think about some of the phenomenal people in Marlboro County, the African Americans right here in Marlboro County that have done some amazing things and will continue to do some amazing things. Here in Marlboro County, we have authors. We've got an author right here. She's phenomenal, young African American lady. You know what I mean? We have history makers here in Marlboro County. We have the first female moderator of a major church organization. I mean, we've done some good things here. So I'm hoping everybody keeps that in mind and get along. There's some things that I would like to see go a little faster, but the longer I stay here, I realize that the wheels of government sometimes turn slow. But as long as they're continuing to turn, I think we all can see. But if we can do a little bit better job at communicating to the people exactly what we're doing, exactly, if we're going to have the groundbreaking for the aquatic center, I hope that we can get the word out and let everybody just come and attend, this thing, let them see the movement, not just the talk, because we've seen the talk before. But that would be it.
I want to again thank everyone for coming out. I just want to bring everyone up to a date about some community activities that I've been involved with. I'm very thankful that this time Marlboro County Probate Judge Renika McCoy, representatives from Wells Fargo Bank, and consultants from Freedom Finance, they will be here to do a workshop, an informational session on Friday, March 8th, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock at the Marion Wright Elderman Library. And it's going to be steps on how to avoid your money and property from probate. So that's going to be a workshop we're going to be having. I thank God that Judge, I want to call him a queen, but Judge McCoy wants to do this, and I think that's just really good. I want to say that I got trained. I took a 4 weeks class with IRS, and I got this from the Census Bureau. I keep in touch with IRS because I like learning. Took a 4 weeks class with them and got certified to do taxes for persons who are elderly or low and moderate income. We were going to have that program. I mentioned it to the administrator, but I was able to partner with the library. The library will be doing free taxes, and that hub of young ladies with the director there, they're doing an outstanding job, and we're going to be doing free taxes for persons who would like their taxes done free. The program will be set up end of February, just going to do about 6 weeks of it, and I'm very thankful for them. And with that, if they do well this year, they're going to be eligible for some grant money, and I'm glad about that. So basically, I'm thankful that our county will be doing some things to service the community. That's what I'm about. I really like doing things that will help the community, and I'm going to continue with that. And I do think, I'm very thankful to God that I have that desire to want to help our community. Thank you.
And I'd like to say that the citizens of District 3 feel free to contact me with any county-wise concern, and I'd be glad to talk to you.
The conversation about animals and the nuisance. One thing that Mr. Clyburn did stress is that we got to make sure that we stay in compliance with the state law. If we do something for Subgrove, then people in Branchwood, we want the same treatment. What you do for Peter, you got to do for Paul. So we got to make sure that when we attack a situation, that we can stand firm. Is Rosewood call and say we got dog barking, we got noise making, people down west, they could have the same situation. We can't, we got to make sure that when we attack a situation, that if any other community, any other area where people live, it can come back to the table and say, well, you did it for them, why you can't do it for me? So we got to make sure. Ms. Adams, her and I, we talked before, and we know the nuisance. We understand. But like I said, we still got to do what we got to do and be compliant, because the last thing the council won't hear is we take care of one area, and then every month another area come in and say, we want the same treatment. Why? We got one dog barking and I can't sleep. You know, we can't attack that problem like that. We all know, you know, everybody watching. We know everybody watching. So we got to make sure that we do our due diligence. That's why I got Mr. Andrews, you know, to take care, to look at every aspect. And we talk to, and Subgrove, you know, we're gonna look at it. We make sure that we can do what we got to do with the person that have the dogs. Some kind of way we got to get him in front of somebody. Every time, like I said, officers say they go there, he not there, whatever case may be, but we got to address that situation with him first and foremost, and see can we find a internal solution, not only with that area but other areas also. A lot of positive things that we African Americans have done over the years, and a lot in a lot of recent moments. If we just take a moment to look around. Just in Marlboro County, you can see a lot of pioneers, and that we stood on the shoulders of others to be in the position we're in today. I might be wrong, I can't be for sure, but I'm probably the first black male to be a chairman of a council seat. You know, but I could not be in this position if I didn't have stood on the shoulders of others. You know, Mr. Clyburn, first African American county administrator. he had to go through battles and situations. You know, so we got a lot of people to be, that have done things, but yet we didn't do it on our own. We stood on other people's shoulders. And now people can stand on our shoulders to do better things in the future. And with that being said, it's leap year. So ladies, it's Valentine's Day for us, baby. We get Valentine's Day, men. So y'all need to go hook us up. Y'all don't believe in Valentine's? Y'all don't believe in leap year? Women don't believe in leap year? Y'all believe in leap year? Oh my goodness. Ladies, happy Valentine's Day. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Meeting adjourned. They won't get no love for Valentine's Day.